In the beginning, being connected with the divine was not a religion. It wasn't a system of beliefs or a set of rituals. It was simply a direct, unmediated experience of truth. It was the awareness of the divine within all things, known in the moment, not bound by any tradition or structure. People were not religious in the modern sense. They were awake. They saw the world through a lens of connection, of unity, and of love. Spirituality was not something you practiced, it was something you lived. But over time, that living experience became confined, formalized, and even hijacked. What was once a natural, organic connection to the divine became institutionalized, codified, and made rigid. Religion as we know it today began to emerge, not as a path to awakening, but as a way to control. The living truth was buried beneath layers of dogma and ritual, and the vibrant experience of the divine turned into a mechanical system of obedience. Even the word religion points to this shift. To do something religiously means to do it by habit, without presence or awareness. It's not about being in the moment. It's about repeating actions without thinking, without truly living. Religion in this sense, it's not about awakening. It's about routine, about automation. And the very act of turning spirituality into religion poisons the well. This is not a minor shift. It's at the core of the problem. The divine is always now. It cannot be reached by doing what we've always done. The moment you turn a direct revelation into a tradition, you begin to bury the living truth under the weight of outdated rituals and habits. What once freed the soul now became a tool of control. The mysteries were no longer about personal awakening, but about submission. The inner kingdom was no longer about discovering the divine within. It became about external salvation, mediated by priests, gurus, or kings. And so began the distortion. The truth was not only buried, it was intentionally twisted. Mystics were persecuted, prophets were silenced, and the deeper meanings of sacred symbols were obscured, replaced by empty rituals. What was once meant to uplift the soul was now used to bind it. Today, when most people think of religion, they think of nonsense, outdated dogma, absurd stories, and contradictions. And that's no accident. Religion has been deliberately made to appear ridiculous. The myths are taught as literal facts, while the deeper metaphors are ignored. The living truth is buried beneath layers of cultural misunderstanding and manipulation. This is part of the trap. First, the truth was buried in dogma, and then the dogma was made so absurd that any thoughtful person would reject it, never thinking to dig deeper. Both the unquestioning believer and the skeptical intellectual are kept from seeing the deeper wisdom. But the core was never the problem. The teachings of the great mystics, sages, and prophets are still there, hidden beneath the distortions. Jesus didn't create a religion. He exposed illusion. Buddha didn't establish a new faith. He pointed to self-liberation. Krishna didn't demand worship. He called for self-realization. The divine within, the eternal truth, has always been available, but it requires us to look beyond the surface, to move beyond the ritual and reclaim the living essence of the sacred. The irony is this: the more religion became institutionalized, the further away it got from its true purpose, and the more people became convinced that the truth was something outside of them, the more they missed the fact that it had always been within. Religion wasn't always a prison. It was once a path of awakening, of love, and of truth. It still can be, but only if we have the courage to see through the distortions, to move beyond the habitual, and to embrace the living truth that has always been here, waiting for us. The question now is, how do we reclaim this lost connection? How do we break free from the spiritual inertia that religion in its current form has created? The answer is simple: by returning to the truth that was always there, by shedding the layers of distortion and rediscovering the direct experience of the divine, by remembering that spirituality is not about belief, but about presence. It's about seeing clearly, living consciously, and aligning with the love and truth that permeate the very fabric of existence.